Hey everybody, it's Tech Tuesday. Today we're going to be talking about downstream spectrum and how you can view that remotely anywhere you are on pretty much any device. We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us for Tech Tuesday. I'm Rick Uzzi, and here with me is Peter Olivia, our VP of Systems and Software and stuff. Handles lots of different things here at Decorum. So we thought today we'd talk about our product, Remote Spectrum, because we've recently made just some updates to that product, and that's something that allows you to view spectrum downstream or forward path spectrum from your office or from in the field on a PC, laptop, mobile device. Starbucks.
It's best from Starbucks.
From the beach, if you happen to be at the beach.
Exactly.
We've been at the beach. Well, not
virtually.
really.
I've been virtually at the beach.
You've been virtually at the beach with me.
I virtually had a vacation.
Yeah, so we did a little green screen thing. So anyway, so that's a really neat thing that I guess was 7-8 years ago. You started seeing it in modems that supported something called full band capture, wideband capture.
Full spectrum capture.
Full spectrum capture.
Sure. Yeah, they started putting it in the chipsets. Wow, has it been that long? Has it been 7, 8, 9 years?
Yeah, I was looking back when we first came out with this product. So,
wow, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And well, it's great. It's like having a meter in the house,
right?
Or anywhere out there in the field that you've got it.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, I don't know if they put any full band capture on any of the like amplifiers or. I'd have to look. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting. I think they were doing some of that where you can actually look at things there as well, but. And I remember back when we were really ahead of the curve on this when we created this Remote Spectrum product, because at that time, that was like 7 years ago, and there weren't as many modems out there. So
yeah, it was the new thing.
Yeah. So
it's funny. We're showing the spectrum, then they put the phone on there, and you can see the LTE interference that was coming right in. It was just really neat.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So we were so new that there weren't that many devices. So what we told people was, if you don't have that many devices, then place them strategically in homes around, so they could almost be like a probe, because you wouldn't necessarily have access to every home. But now, most modems manufactured since that time have been included.
Yeah, I mean, they've added them in there. Pretty much anything in the recent past that's new has them. A lot of operators still have a lot of the old gear. I mean, people get service, and if you're doing a good job, they keep your service for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And until you have a reason to truck roll to the house and swap out the device, they might still have some old ones out there.
Yeah.
So we do have a list of ones that, at that transition period, we have the models and what firmware versions were on there, but pretty much anything in the recent, at least in the last 5 years, has to have a full band capture chip in it.
Mm-hmm. So if you think about the old way of doing things, a lot of times it was you wanted to go look at the downstream spectrum, so you'd roll a truck and you might climb a ladder somewhere and connect up and view the spectrum, and then you might have to take the ladder down, roll a little further down the street.
Yeah.
And take a look at it that way.
Yeah, you'd have to go to each individual location or drop a tap on and look at it right there, around the neighborhood and whatnot.
But now, if all your devices or a lot of your devices have this full band capture, spectrum capture kind of feature, then it's really like having, like Pete said, it's like having a meter in all these different houses where you can go ahead and sample this.
Yeah, and you could hop down the street and see if you see a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it stopped, and it starts at this house, starts at that one. Hey, there just happens to be an amplifier right out there somewhere.
Yeah, so it can help maybe avoid some truck rolls, or maybe make your truck rolls more efficient if you're able to see this before you go out in the field and then try to track stuff down. So let's take a quick look and see what we have here. So I'm actually already logged in to this system, and so this is a product that we developed about 7-8 years ago called Remote Spectrum, and we developed it to be fairly simple and really kind of a replacement for a meter.
It's a supplemental. It'd be nice to, like you said, just you don't have to go out. If you can hop onto a device in an area and look at what the spectrum looks like, and it's a full spectrum, so you could see everything from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an added benefit. Now they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So
now one of the first things you have to know is which of your devices are capable or have capture capabilities. And we've got that in here. Should I go to that first, maybe with the?
Sure, if you want. There's a way when you configure the system to go in and say, "Hey, scan these subnets and look for devices that might have full band capture," and it does that. You set up how often you want to do that, and then it generates a list of devices in there.
And that's actually a good point. Maybe we should cover is how does this work? Is this a web-based application? Is it hosted? It's web-based, but generally this is a server that the operator hosts. So
right. Yeah, I mean, and the reason why we're having this video is we've recently made it all browser based.
yeah,
So it's all self-contained. The same kind of reasons why we did a lot of the not rebranding, but all the work we did in TrueVision.
to get away from an app.
Yeah, because the old Flex Adobe, that old paradigm, you'll see that a lot now where Flex Adobe you'll get a warning, hey, this doesn't work, or download the Flash Player. Like, I already have. Why is it asking me? So we made it all web-based, and then we kind of enhanced it a little while we were making that change.
Yeah.
So yeah, this runs on basically what happens is the operator that wants to use this application, they stand up a server, and we provide them the application. They drop it on.
So we have a Windows and a Linux version.
Yeah, there's a Windows installer, whatever, they click and go. The Linux one, you have to stand up a server, and we give you the application. You drop it into a Tomcat installation, and it unpacks, and you're on your way.
I guess what it's doing is it's creating a web server as part of that, right? Because
well, the web server's there. It's an app that you actually it's a web app that you actually put in there. You literally drop it in, and it goes, hey, I've got this thing. Let me unpack it, and oh, there you go. And then you go to however you configure it, and the URL and the name is all dependent on what server you put it on. So.
And then they put the server in there, and then that server has to have access to the CMTS, and then it goes and collects the.
Yeah, what you would do is you would stand up the server in your plant somewhere, and that it has access to devices out in the field, and basically drop in the software, and then you tell it, hey, scan these subnets, and it goes and finds the devices.
Okay. So there's 2 pages. It's not real complicated. So right now we're on the monitor page, which is where you would view the spectrum, but I'm going to switch over here just by clicking the gearbox over to the collector page. And here you've basically got 2 choices, one of which is CPEs. So when I click that, that's going to give me a list of, it's gone out and
yeah, and I know you already pre-canned it. If you click one of those, it's going to pre-populate and jump to the other screen. So just warning you now.
Yeah, and which is
we made it so that you could go in here and say, oh yeah, that one, and you can click it. You can search.
I can click any of these, and
you have a search capability that'll search for.
Yeah, I can. Right now it's showing, I guess, 10. I can make it as many as I want to show. And the other nice thing is the search. It's a narrowing search. So if I know that my IP, they all start with 10.2, but let's say I'm going 10.2. They're all 7.4. And
so it's
narrowing. I do
down.
that, it's narrowing down to the 7.4s.3.
Right.
Well, this has been great. So no picture,
That's awesome.
no sound.
Do you want to start all over?
Maybe we should start all over. Yeah, I don't know what was. Well, I guess you could probably hear us before, but that's just crazy. Okay.
So why don't you? Really quickly, if you want to go back to
let's go back
the CPE screen and show them where.
Yeah.
And give them a quick rundown.
Yeah. Okay. So again, this. I'm not sure how much you heard before. So this is a tool that will pull the spectrum directly from the CPE in the house. It could be a cable modem. It could be a set-top box that supports spectrum.
If they have a full band spectrum capture chip and it responds, it could be whatever handles it.
Yeah. So it pulls all channels, video and data channels.
Full spectrum.
Yeah, full spectrum. So I am going to go back to this screen. So I can, you may have heard or see, I don't think you saw this thing, it's black. But.
So basically what's going on is we set it up and said, hey, go look for devices on this subnet. And it goes out and scans for it, and whichever ones respond, we then populate, hey, it was this MAC address with this IP. You can quickly go into the search bar and either start typing in the IP or MAC. It'll filter down to it. You click on any of them, it'll automatically jump to the screen that will let you start monitoring that device.
Once you click on it, it'll jump to here, and it will actually fill in the IP address. But I had a few selected in here already. So I think this is the one I chose a minute ago. So I'm going to select that device and click the on button. And
it starts capturing data from the device.
Yeah.
So what you've got here for metrics is you've got your horizontal center, which is where do you want to be, basically which frequency span, where do you want to be? Right now our horizontal center is 600, which is right down the middle. And then how many units wide do you want it? That determines how wide the little blocks are.
Yeah.
So how wide of a spectrum do we want to get? And then the vertical center is how high up or down do you want to go? In this case, we're at -10. So if you were to lower the vertical center, it would go even lower. But all these parameters are passed to the device when we say, hey, give me this stuff. And you can set up your refresh rate, how often you want it to update the spectrum. And just like you would on a meter, you have a min hold and max hold option. So if you click max, you'll start seeing if you want to click max, you'll start seeing the traditional haystack start to form. All right.
So this is where it's going to paint just the maximum values as they come in.
Right. So, and then it'll start looking like the haystacks would look when that you would traditionally want to see.
Yeah. And
I did notice when you're looking at some of these devices have really nice haystacks and some don't. So I don't know which ones you picked. It just was interesting to note.
Yeah. And another nice feature in here, again, because we were talking about how you can kind of zero in on where you might have a problem, is that you can actually pull up a second device.
Sure.
By going in here, and again, I
compare
had
notes.
Yeah, I think I had selected one.
You got to hit play.
Hit the on button,
and then you'll get two sets of graphs on here, one for one device, one for the other. Oh, look, they're
pretty much on top of each other, I guess. Well, it's because we're looking at the max.
Well, look at what you did. You picked the same one.
I picked the same one. No wonder they're on top of each other.
They're on top of each other because it's the same device.
There we go. Okay.
It's amazing how good the signal is. We had it exactly identical with two different households. It's now IP sharing, is what we're calling that.
Just want to make sure, just a test for the software. So now we're looking at, again, the max hold on two different devices. I can go back to live, or I can do minimum in hold, and that's going to basically do the opposite. It's going to start looking at the minimum values as they come in. And
kind of the floor.
Yeah, a little bit of live here.
But, most of them either looking at live or you're looking at max.
Yeah.
Usually max is just to see what is it. That'll show me are there any suck outs or roll offs or problems or adjacency issues or things like that.
And there is a calibration. I'm going to click max again. There is a calibration feature in here that we recommend people do. I'm not going to mess with the numbers, but when you click that, so the point of this is that we're basically taking data from this DOCSIS standard feature. Right, but it may not necessarily correspond with.
Sometimes they can be a little off. And so, what we put in the tool is an ability to adjust the signal a little. Like it may not be exactly -5 dB. I don't know why that device is reporting low. So what we do is to calibrate it. You take a meter on that, on the segment, and you put it on there, and it asks for what it's asking for is, hey, give me a high point and give me a floor.
Both on your frequency and your amplitude.
Right. And then pick a frequency and a floor, and then pump in the values that the meter has, and it kind of smooths out and makes it more accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it looks like a normal haystack, right? And really what we're looking for is, are there suck outs or whatnot? And I think you actually tweaked it a little earlier, right? We had to.
I did tweak it a little, and I didn't have a meter. So I was just like, how does this work?
It felt like that would be -20 dB, but
I was looking at it, I was like, well, what could be a high point and a low point? But I wasn't doing it right, so I'm sure.
But basically, you take the meter and you punch in the values for those points on there, and then what it'll do is you'll smooth out the curves, the graph, and it'll make it more in line with more accurate.
Yeah.
But that's just one time. You do it one time, and you're kind of tuned.
Yeah. So again, the value of this is that you can now look at the spectrum coming. This would be two different homes, and you normally, I would guess, would choose two that are fairly close to each other, maybe to try to find out if there's.
Yeah, you might be next door neighbors. Obviously, these guys are probably not, unless there's a real drop off. I mean, if those are next door to one another, it'd be like, wow, what's going on with the house next door?
There. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're dropping.
Yeah.
What is that, like 10 dB?
Yeah.
One's 10 dB than the other. Same kind of signal.
Yeah.
You're seeing similar patterns, but you're seeing a big drop, so that would definitely tell me something's up.
Yeah, so I have no idea where these are located, but that would be the kind of thing that you can do to narrow down. And again, rather than having to roll a truck and up and down a ladder, or in and out of different green boxes, you can.
Yeah, we're literally looking at these are real live homes out in the field right now, and this is rather than rolling a truck and going across town I could pull it up right now.
Yeah, so you can narrow down your search, and then you might find out, okay, well, I really need to be going to this location to figure out what the problem is.
Yeah, and you could hit a street. Like you could go and hit every house on the street and see where it is and know where to target before you even go out.
Yeah.
And know, hey, it looks like this right here is where the problem is. You kind of narrow it down, and you can strategically plan where you're going to save time rather than go out to the street, plug in the meter, walk down, plug in the meter, walk down, plug in the meter, walk down. You know, and all the taps. You're on taps right here. You could, and heck, I know we have an operator that does that from the central office. They actually go out and do this and look for problems, and then give a punch list to the field techs to go out in the field and say, hey, we found these anomalies. Go here.
Yeah.
So you know, it could be one of those. Doesn't necessarily have to be the tech that's doing it. It could be somebody in the central office looking for problems, and then
they direct the tech.
Yeah.
And then while the tech is out in the field, they can pull this up on their phone and see if they've had any impact on with what they're doing.
Right. So if you exit out of the calibration,
I don't think it actually removes that form, but I'm not calibrating right now.
All right. So does it not exit out of there?
Now the exit is after you punched in all the wrong numbers.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Maybe, I don't know.
If you navigate away,
maybe it's supposed to exit on it.
I'll have to maybe look into fixing that. Yeah, I mean, the idea is you save it and then you're done.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it didn't exit. All right, so if you want to click the sprocket and click it back, something to add.
Yeah. Well, while we're here, we have a customer that requested a report that we went ahead and put in for them some time ago. So this is, we call this an out-of-spec report. I think they were trying to look for maybe missing channels, maybe where they had filters on or something like that.
Yeah, maybe if you're looking for traps, or you know where you probably put them, who has it. What they were looking for was, or one of the things I know they were looking for was, am I seeing a drop in signal power on this frequency? And they provided a whole bunch of IPs. You can either put them in, or it's a lot easier to do it by file. Yeah, I mean, if you want to look at a couple, you can do it. But really what they did is provide a whole list of IPs and then say, hey, check this frequency, and for a drop, basically is what it was. And then that'll go out and scan all those devices for it, and it generates a report that says, hey, these guys were low.
Yeah, it shows you, well, I think what it shows you the each device, its amplitude.
It shows the metric, and then you can see who is low.
You can sort however you want. So it's nothing real fancy, but you can type in individual addresses here. You can select a file, or just drop the file right there. And you also, before you do that, before you run it, you select whichever frequencies, and you can hold that down and select multiple ones, or you can, the usual Windows stuff.
Yeah, it's basically you're looking for drops in signal.
Show up in here.
And then what it does, generate a report of these IPs on these frequencies, what were their values, and then you can look from that data and see which are low. That's basically what's going on.
Yeah. So, and again, click back, you can click the gearbox, you'd hit run, and then that will run, depending on the size or the amount that you select, that'll run in the background, and then you can always check the status of it. It might take a minute or two, or it could take a little longer if you're running a bunch of devices.
Sure. I mean, if you want to pull up one real quick and change some of the metrics around there, pull a device up.
I think that was one.
And just so people can see what these different things are. Yeah. So right now we're horizontally, put it on max. I always like max. I always like seeing it. It makes me feel better when the haystacks are in there for some reason, rather than raw signal.
I think I messed that up.
So right now we're centered on 600. You want to select another center? You can go down, I don't know, just pick anything. 528. There you go. And then basically what it does is it goes out and says to the device, oh, look at that. If you want to change the horizontal unit, so 3, make it big, make it 24.
Whoa, really? Okay.
All right, and then it'll show you more going across. Basically, you have more,
Oh, yeah, okay.
See, now I'm seeing a wider span of things.
Yeah. So you can start to see if you've got tilt.
Roll off if you're seeing, various things happen in the plant, whatever signal, and it's funny, you see some that are the old SC quams, and then some old video, analog videos over there. The vertical unit is how tall do you want how big the boxes you want to be.
Oh, this one here. Okay.
Yeah, you can make it bigger.
Bigger this way.
Yeah, make it significantly bigger so you can see it. So there you go. Say 10. There you go. Now it'll make the blocks, it'll kind of squeeze it some more. Yeah. So you can adjust the signal where you want to zoom in and see vertically or horizontally more spectrum. And same thing with the vertical center. Sometimes you'll pull it up and you go, I don't see any signal at all. And what's happening is there's nothing there. There's just a floor. It's like negative 35, negative 40 dB. There's nothing there.
Yeah,
so sometimes you want to drop the floor and go, where do you want the center to be centered on? You picked up what, negative 15?
Yeah.
So that's basically what you can do. And you can see whatever span of the spectrum you want to look at.
Yeah. And when we originally designed this, again, this was 7-8 years ago, it was designed to be like somebody who was used to using a meter would know what to do, because these are the same kind of controls that would be on a meter.
Right. And one other thing you didn't talk about. Now, say you wanted to look at a specific frequency. So click somewhere.
Yeah. So I want to click right here.
You click there, and then you can go down to A, and it'll mark that. It puts a line there, and it'll start showing you the frequency and the amplitude that's in there, how much power is in there. And then you can pick another one.
Like,
depends what do you want to see?
I want to see that big tall one.
Sure. Click B, and then that'll show you. Now you're going to see spectrum. Our original A point is the dark blue. Our B point is the lighter blue. And then you can also, wherever your mouse is, and you could in theory click on a third point and hold it there.
Yeah.
And as it updates, you'll see all 3 points.
Yeah.
The anticipation of this brown line of the click is that you're going to click A or B next to move the marker. But you can look at various frequencies all at the same time. Every time it scans, you can compare notes. It might be you want to see the edges of it. Who knows? Whatever you want to look at, and you're seeing, what their amplitude is.
Yeah.
How much dBmV is in there.
So, and it's also showing you, I've only got one device.
You got to pick somebody. You don't have an IP in there.
IP in there. Okay, so if I pick who was working.
There you go. Click that one.
That one. Try that.
Go for it.
Give it a shot.
And these are on like different streets, so who knows? They might be way off from one another.
I don't know if that one was.
There you go.
Dang it.
Well, you got to realize you're pulling a whole span.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
It's a lot of signal you're pulling in there, and you set your refresh time to 5 seconds. So, but anyway, you can compare notes between the two different signals.
Yeah, so now I can see 1 and 2 down here. That's what the 1 and the 2 stand for.
Right, and you might this might be a good way if you see someone in the street that all have the same signal, but then you've got this suck out of signal at around 456. You might have one house that has a trap in it, and you can see the signal's up, but the next door neighbor is down. We probably put a trap in there years ago, the custom trap that we put in, and forgot. A lot of people have done that and forgot where they put them. It's a great way to find those things. All right.
And I can't remember if my pointer is showing on the screen, so hopefully you can follow what we're saying. But the A and the B down at the bottom, you might be seeing that color change. You can't see the pointer or the mouse. And that's the lines that I've selected. So, all right. That's a lot in here for such a simple little tool.
Yeah, and it runs on a browser. So once you set it up and give access to your technicians, you set up some way to reach it from the outside world in. They could go out in the field and do this. It all works in a browser.
Right. So
on their smartphone, I was looking at the other day, you put it in landscape mode, and you can do the same type of features, and it'll do exactly the same thing.
And one question people might have would be security. So when they set up this server, there's a place where they actually add users with a login and a password, correct?
Yeah, it's centralized. It's not here. It goes to we keep that centralized and then sync it out to the local system out there. Okay. But yeah, they have user management. It's real basic. Add user, give them rights. It's real simple stuff. Yeah. The old version used to have a mobile app. We got rid of the mobile app. It's all now browser-based, so every piece of functionality that's in the desktop version is also in the mobile. Yeah. Or really, it's a browser.
It's a browser, so they're just saying the same.
I mean, you could run it. I always like saying you can run off your refrigerator now. They've got browsers on your refrigerator.
Yep. So. All right. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful for a couple of reasons. One was to understand full band capture capabilities and what that can do for you, and then also you can see this product that we've had out for some time now. So. If this is something you're interested in, just go to remotespectrum.com. That's remotespectrum.com, and you'll see a website about it, and you can reach out to us. If you want to try this out, you can download the software. You can get a trial license from us, and you set up the server. You can try it out and see what you think. Give it to your technicians.
And next week?
Next week, we're going to be talking about the Spectrum tab in TrueVision. TrueVision, you may be aware of, is our diagnostics application for fiber and for DOCSIS, and specifically on DOCSIS, we've got a Spectrum tab in there that they can see kind of the same thing. It's a lot of
similar features. Yeah. Same kind of idea to look at Spectrum, but through TrueVision.
Through TrueVision. So We'll definitely make sure that we let our TrueVision folks know so that they can tune in to watch that, because they may not even be aware that that feature exists.
For that one, I think I'll show up at least 50 more seconds before than I did this time.
That's good, yeah, because Pete walked in here at the last minute, which is probably why I had so many problems.
Eating a cookie, by the way, nice crunchy on the mic.
Yeah.
That's probably why the mic didn't work.
Yeah, and I was really thrown, which is why we lost our picture there for a while, and then the audio. I have no idea what that was. I don't know. I think it was a hang up.
It's the blackout shortcut on the desktop.
I know there was the hotkey that probably got rid of our picture. I don't know why the sound went away, because I didn't touch any buttons when that happened that I'm aware of.
Launch all missiles, right? Still give you the codes.
It's just Murphy's Law. So if you hung with us, thank you.
All right.
There's people going to be watching the recording. They're like, psh, click, goodbye. So if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. I think it got better.
If you saw nothing but a black screen, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more dark video.
Yeah, so let's see. So yeah, if you'd like to subscribe, just click the little button. Look at that, I've got some animation.
Oh, wow. Button. And you got to click the bell.
You got to click the bell will ring. I did that so people would not try to click the button actually right there, because that won't work. You got to go below the video.
Okay.
So it doesn't actually work on the screen. And the little thumbs up thing there won't work. So click the thumbs up in the video if you like this. And tune in next week if you're interested in seeing this kind of a very similar feature in TrueVision, but we'll talk about it again. And then the week after that, I'll be talking about the one that we just looked at is really kind of like a live spectrum meter kind of replacement. Next week, or the 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about something that's a little bit more proactive that will take snapshots of your spectrum and kind of let you know when you've got a problem.
Do some analysis for you.
Yeah, so it'll alert you to, hey, it looks like you've got 4 suckouts and 3 tilts and 5 adjacent channels, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Or adjacencies.
Well, we'll get there.
Yeah.
All right. Till next week.
Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye.